Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we have a speed build on our hands, and this is what we're building today. So I had this idea. The other week I built a mansion barren home, and I went all out. It was really big and gorgeous, and I loved it. But then I sort of had it in my head. I was doing a bit of gameplay with my Drifter challenge, and I was just pondering the idea, how small could I go building with base game only to create a mansion barren house? So this is what this build today is all about. It's about me building a mansion barren house as small as I can get. Well, not super small, but like fairly small, and using base game only. So I thought that would be quite good for people on the gallery, and something a little bit different to do, because I haven't done like a base game build in a while. I was initially just going to do like a mansion barren house, just as small as I could get it, but then I was thinking about doing a base game build as well, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to mush those two ideas together and create a mansion barren base game home. So yeah, this is it. And I did want to do something modern. Not for any particular reason, I just felt like building something modern. To be honest, I was just thinking, no, I didn't really have a reason. I just felt like building modern, so that's what I did. It is definitely modern on the exterior. I think it's definitely a lot more traditional on the interior. The reason for that is just simply it would have been impossible to create a mansion barren home using modern materials from just base game, because there's like not very much in the way of base game stuff that has got a modern sort of vibe to it. So that was going to be impossible. So it is, got traditional sort of vibes on the interior, but it is definitely a modern exterior, if I said that right. So, and I also was trying something with these columns, and it was a fail, by the way. These will go. I was trying to use like more expensive columns, which is why I chose these. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to leave them there and see if they work. And nah, they didn't. I went in a wholly different direction. So if you're not familiar, the mansion barren aspiration is one of the aspirations that come with Sims 4, and the whole goal of that is you've got to have a total value house of 350,000 simoleons. So that is part of the last part of the aspiration. You need to have I think it's 20 columns, 30 windows, and 15 paintings. So yeah, so these basically, you've got a few things that you need to make sure that you tick the boxes on when you are creating a mansion barren house. So because I did one recently, I sort of had a good idea as to what I needed to do. And I just kind of winged it. I didn't actually have a checklist or anything like that to check off. I was just kind of like, well, I know I need lots of windows, lots of columns, and lots of paintings. And I need to make it with a minimum of 350,000. So, ta-da! This is what we're working towards. So the shape of the front of the house is actually starting to come together. I kind of had like a tiered, kind of steeped look initially, and it just wasn't working for me. And so just mucked around with how the shape of the front was, and I think that came together really nicely. And just using some different colors as well. So using the brick, it's kind of like a brownie brick, which I think is really nice. And it's kind of like a mushroomy kind of color beige, mushroomy beigey kind of color on the exterior, which I thought was something a little bit different. And then just using a clapboard as the third texture on the house. Obviously, when it comes to modern houses, you are generally going to have at least 2 to 3 different kind of textures and colors, mixed materials on the exterior. So I was conscious of that when I was creating the build, and making sure that I did have those mixed colour. But I actually really like that brick that comes with base game. It kind of reminds me of the one that you get with the City Living, which is my favourite of all the bricks. It's actually not far off that, so I was happy with that choice. And I actually think it ended up looking not like it's just base game, the house itself, which is kind of, it's going to sound funny, but it's kind of always my aim when I am building a base game only home to make it not look like it's a base game only home, you know, just to give it like a really different look and vibe from what you might not you might build on the regular with just base games. So yeah, and I think obviously base game does lend itself to a more traditional home at the end of the day. So if you are going sort of more modern, I feel like you are kind of veering away a bit from what base game offers you anyway. I do wish like in the future that they would put like a few more modern things within just base game, just a few bits and pieces here and there, because it is really difficult to do a base like exterior. Absolutely fine, you can do a modern exterior, no problem, but doing a modern interior is actually really challenging with just base game. So I would love like some more furniture that has like a more modern touch to it. There is one range of furniture which it does have a modern vibe. It's kind of modern industrial. I can't remember the name of it now, but there's like the vault stuff. So that has like a bit more of a modern vibe to it, and that's generally the stuff that I'll use when I am going for a base game modern interior. Anyway, we're coming together, so I feel like I'm just about ready to get rid of those columns because they don't look great. There we go. I just kind of left them there because I was like, I thought, well, get everything done and then I'll just see how I feel. And I was like, I feel very, very strongly that these are not very good to match with this house. So I'm just working on the last of the windows. So I decided to put like the curved mega deluxe, whatever they are, windows in there as well, because we had sort of the windows that had the smaller panels. So I thought they would work really nicely with those, as well as mixing that up with the larger panel windows. So I did skip over me adding all the columns because there was a lot of columns, and it was, to be honest, it was a little bit fussy because they were sitting on corners, and sometimes you have to fuss around with, on the second level, bringing those columns out onto the corner. Anyway, I just used the basic round dark brown column. The reason that I chose that was because it was the only dark brown column that didn't have like a little flare on the bottom of it, because I knew I was having to stack some of the columns because of the way that the house is set up. You have to stack to get the second level, and this was the only column in base game that was stackable without having like a little flare out on the bottom, which when you are stacking columns is not ideal. Anywho, so this is starting to take shape, so I'm just about to start working on the landscaping. So I will show you a good portion of that, but I think I will probably skip over some of the landscaping as well. And it's using a lot of the most expensive trees. Well, you know, and one of the things that you need for a mansion baron is 5,000 simoleons on landscaping. So by the time, you know, I got the most expensive tree in there, put that all over the place, and did rocks around the edge of the garden and stuff like that. I mean, it's not that difficult to spend 5k on landscaping. I mean, I like landscaping, and I'm quite happy to spend a lot of money on landscaping anyway. So, yeah. 5k was pretty easy on the old landscaping side of things. So you do need to make sure that you aren't using like debug or anything for landscaping. I mean, obviously you can, but it's not going to add any value to your property if you are using debug. So go the non-debug route if you are building a mansion baron house. That's my recommendation. But I thought that using the little garden pots and then putting the trees in there would be a cute idea, and I actually really like how that came out, so I'll probably keep doing that as an idea because I liked it. And yeah, so just getting the rocks in there. I mean, with black rocks, I felt like using the grey rocks wouldn't be quite as effective, and the black rocks probably would have did create like quite a nice border around the front there, so I thought that was really sweet. So I used those, more of the trees, and I did throw some more rocks in around those trees and just made like a little garden. I decided to use like the roses for dotting around the garden. I didn't want to go like the route of grasses and stuff like that. I felt like that probably could have been the right vibe, but it's not the road that I wanted to go down. I wanted to go with flowers, so I just went pretty plain with just using white, and used the roses and some of the little greenery things, and dotted some more rocks around there. I just did a few bits and pieces around the place, but I think that came together quite nicely and looks quite pretty. I don't know, I just wanted to do flowers. That's just what I wanted to do. Sometimes I don't have a rhyme or reason for why I do something. Sometimes it's just, I just wanted to do it. So just getting like a little, whatchamacallit, a seat around the front. And then I started doing this. I was like, oh, I want to put a fountain in there. And then thought, well, you know, I can block that off with a fence. And then needed to change the colour of the fence. And then I was like, hey, I can turn into a fountain with a fountain. So I threw a fountain in there. And it became a fountain within a fountain, and I think that's quite a cool little idea. And then just changed the watercolor and did like a edge around the fountain, which kind of matched the fencing and the vibe, the sort of the color of the fountain as well. So that worked out quite nicely. I was quite happy with that, if I have to be honest. So, and actually I need to play test this, but I'll play test this before I put it up on the gallery, which will be about the same time as this build comes out, but I will make sure that I play test it first. And I put like a fountain in the pool around the back as well, so I don't know if I show that, but yeah, I did. So I've got to test whether or not that works okay, or if it looks dumb. But anyway, so these are the outdoor chairs that I chose. I liked that they had like the dark brown wood on them, and I liked sort of the pattern on the chair as well. So I thought that was really sweet. So I used those and just used some lamps. It was actually quite hard to find some lamps that I liked for the exterior, because yeah, they weren't. There weren't really much in the way of modern lamps that I particularly liked, and yeah, so I ended up going fairly traditional. Oh, I am going to show it, so I'm just doing the pool now, so that's the fountain that I'm putting in there. I did make it bigger. I just thought, you know, why not funk it up, and plus it adds like value to the house, so yeah, perfect. So just doing all the back area, so I thought we'd do some sun chairs. Obviously we want to use the more expensive ones because I'm trying to spend money here. And basically that was my motto for this build, is basically use the most expensive things possible. And when it comes to base game, that is definitely more traditional vibes. So that was another part of why I went more traditional on the interior, was simply because the most expensive items were more traditional looking. So it's just the way it worked out. But I thought we could have like a little garden area and just like another chair around the back here, so that would be quite cute. It gives you a practical element as well. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're spending $350,000 on a house, you're probably going to have enough money that you don't need to garden, and that it's probably just like a nice hobby, rather than I need money, so I'm going to garden and sell the the produce for money. So just, I thought it would have a couple of tables outside. You know what? This is actually only going to be a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom. Possibly, it's definitely only 2 bedrooms. So this is only a 2-bedroom house. Like, it's not a big house at all. It's only on a 30 by 20 lot. So it's not on a big lot. And yeah, it's a fairly small house. I told you my whole aim with this was to go fairly small and just use expensive things. So, you know, all the expensive end tables, I'm using those, and all the expensive art, using that, you know, that sort of thing. So going as much as I can for a price, and just making it look good at the same time. So I think I achieved it. I was very happy with how that all went. And obviously all those little potted plants, that sort of thing, absolutely going to be using those all over the place. And I like the whole candles outside thing too. I don't know why I'm on the candles outside kick at the moment, but I am, so I'm just going to run with it. Ended up changing that back area a little bit, because when I did the interior, I needed to put that kitchen, I think, in that back corner, so I had to change that round, but we'll see that when we do the kitchen. But just finding the last little bits and pieces for the exterior here, just to make that all sort of come together. I needed something in that middle, so I thought, I'll just put a couple of chairs there, and that should work. And then I was like, well, we've got a little bit of space here. I can squeeze in some more expensive plants. Perfect. Tick, 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 ka-ching. And that moves us to the inside. So I got the most expensive hanging lights possible. and spread those around the place. And because they weren't that bright, I did throw in some of the little saucer lights on top of them, just to add like a little bit more brightness to the place, because they weren't the brightest ones that you could get. So yeah, basically I'm going to start working on the interior shape of the build. It's going to be quite open flow on the bottom floor. I did struggle a bit with like the placement of the kitchen, because the nature of the challenge is you need lots of windows, so there isn't like a lot of wall space for stuff, like setting up the kitchen and stuff, because the kitchen kind of does lend itself to needing wall space. So yeah, so I did struggle a little bit with that. But upstairs, as we are right now, so you've got the one bathroom upstairs. Oh yeah, it is 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, because there's 1 bathroom upstairs, 1 bathroom downstairs, and 2 bedrooms upstairs. So I carried the idea through of more columns and just did like a spandrel through to the living area. So it's going to be bathroom and living area, and then as you come in the door, it's going to be your kitchen, dining, and there's like a little study nook as well in the downstairs area. So that's how it come together. The colors will evolve as we go along, because I kind of put like a neutral tone down, just sort of get me started, and then as I sort of get the furniture in, I'll adjust that as I go, which is generally the way that I do things. Not always, but generally. Sometimes I'll just shuffle the furniture in and then do the colours. I mean, it just depends. Depends on my mood and how I want to do things. But basically, once I got this chair in, I realised that I needed to change the colour of the walls. So this is where I'm going to have a little bit of a tutu and see where I go. I kind of like that dark blue. I like the bright yellow, but, you know, that's probably not ideal for this build. So I went through some of the patterned wallpaper. This wasn't quite right, and then this was just a little too bright, and then I found this one and I was like, cool, perfect, that'll do the trick. So I went with that option, and then so mixing in the blue with the cream or light brown, depends on how you want to go with that. I guess so. Yeah, mixing in the light browns and the browns in the curtains and the furnishings, and then bringing the blue on the walls just to mix it up and just not look like it all blended in together is kind of the idea behind that. And of course I'm using the most expensive curtains and the most expensive furnishings, because we are building a very expensive house for a 2-bedroom house, like worth 350k. I mean, that's fairly expensive. So I went as big as I could on the TV that would sit on the freestanding unit. I decided that putting that on the angle kind of made sense for that room. It's just quite an awkward shape for a open flow room. I probably could have gone like more closed off rooms, but I don't know. I wanted it more open flow, so that's what I did. The dining area, the dining area was tricky. Oh boy. But anyway, so I thought throw in some plants behind there and a table, and you know what? That could be like a nice little TV area. And I did want to mix it up a little bit with the furnishing, so I went blue on a few of the chairs and stuff. So starting the artwork placement, because obviously we need artwork. We need to have at least 15 pieces of artwork, which was fairly easy to do, particularly when you're not working on a Sims budget, you're just building it. So I'm doing the study in this little nook here. I did think about this for a dining area, but I needed it kind of 1 grid wider to create it as a dining area. So, yeah, it worked better as a little study area, which was fine because I could put in like an expensive computer and stuff like that in there anyway. And I'm just creating like a secondary TV area, so more of a smaller little TV nook, I guess. Less of an entertainment TV area, more of a family kind of entertainment area, if that makes sense. That's kind of what I was thinking for it anyway, plus expensive TV. Spending that money, ka-ching. So just finishing off the living room area, and yeah, did think about the blue for that, but I thought, nah, that's too modern looking, so let's not go there. But and those little vases with the flowers, I mean, they're over 1,000 each, so I use them liberally throughout this build, let's just say that. And of course, I'm using this Schmapple stuff because expensive. Ka-ching. This is where I started to struggle because I really did not have enough wall space to allow me to create a kitchen as I wanted it to. So this is me just working out how I want this kitchen to go. So I decided that I would have the entrance and then maybe just like a little entrance area going into a kitchen island kind of situation, and then that leads into the kitchen, and then you got your dining study, and then you've got your living area. So that's kind of how it ended up turning out. So it's coming together now, and I end up taking away some of the windows and stuff and just using a slightly different window which worked better with the kitchen and the height of the kitchen and stuff. So just went with that option there. And then the dining, I was just kind of like, this kind of feels weird to put the dining here. Like it just kind of felt like a weird place for the dining table. It might be, but I think it kind of also works okay. Like by the time I put it on the angle and stuff, I mean, you kind of get it, like the kitchen flow through to the dining room. I mean, ideally I would probably have put that dining area in a separate area, but it just simply wasn't the space for it. I was going small, so you know, that's just sometimes some of the little compromises you have to make with yourself when you're trying to achieve a particular goal, and it's not as you would normally have it, but that's okay. And obviously with base game, we've got a pretty limited amount of kitchen clutter, so just working with what I've got there. Particularly with the hanging stuff. I wish we had more kitchen hanging stuff. I really do. Like in base game, like there is probably a decent amount when you look at the overall packs and stuff like that, but just for base game there's like, there's not very much. There's like a couple of things, and you kind of have to go into the locked entitlement items as well to be able to get them. Like that knife that I've used is locked normally, so yeah. Oh well, just putting some light switches in there. Ding, ding, ding. But we're basically just about done with the downstairs area. Just going to put like a little bit of decoration onto the kitchen island. Just a few bits and pieces. Obviously, you know, clutter does add cost to the build, so I want to use a little bit of clutter if I can. And I do appreciate those little challah breads. I think they're fantastic clutter for the kitchen. So I love those. I use them all the time. Another chair going in there because of course we need another chair. Oh, and we've still got like a little bit of the study area to finish off as well, because I obviously need to have a bookshelf and a chest set will go in there as well. I'm just going to do like a bit of a custom bookshelf thing going on there too, just to add a bit more of a booky sort of vibe. So just doing the classic, clicking it on the towel rack and then dragging it across because it's got the bigger shelf space slot on there. So it sits a little bit nicer, and then change the colour on the box. Ta-da! There we go, cute little area. There, that's better, darker brown. I was going to say like that light brown wasn't quite working for me, but the darker brown does work. So then just needed a chest table going in there. Obviously going to use the most expensive option because I have to. I just have to. And then I need a rug in there. So I think I just went plain blue. A little bit smaller. There we go. And I think we've just got a couple bits of clutter down here, and then it's time to move upstairs. So obviously we need to have a few more pieces of art going upstairs. Oh, the bathroom downstairs. I forgot about that. Oopsie. So I'm using the most expensive stuff, I think, just about down here. Yeah, I must. I'm using the jet bath because I mean they're 12,000 a piece. I mean, like ka-ching, perfect. So I use that. It's you know, it actually wasn't hard to spend 350,000 simoleons. I've got to say, as long as you're choosing the most expensive things, it's actually quite easy to spend a lot of money. It's what's harder is actually making those things look good in the context of your build, because it doesn't, just because they're expensive doesn't mean they are the right item or a good looking item or the item that you want to use, you know. So that's the challenge with it, is just making it actually look good in the house that you want to build. So I decided to move away from the white towels and actually use these more expensive towels that I hardly ever use, with the little claw sort of handle-y type things on them. So use those, and I've just moved upstairs now and going to do something similar in the upstairs bathroom, same sort of situation, although this bathroom has more blinds, so I actually didn't have as much room to work with in this bathroom as I did in the bathroom downstairs, but I can still fit a bath and a shower. Bonus spending, and all the bits and pieces in here, so similar but not the same, if you know what I mean. So just get a mirror and the bits and clutter and the towel and some more towels. There wasn't actually a space on the wall really for the full towel rail, so I just kind of shrink that down a little bit. Then I was like, oh, another opportunity to spend another $1,000 on flowers. Fabulous. So I'm just going to get some artwork in the hallway. Obviously, I think we're just about approaching 15 pieces of artwork there anyway. It wasn't too hard to get those in there. Then using the most expensive bed, the most expensive end table, probably one of the most expensive lamps. I'm kind of, if I remember rightly, I think I'm about 230,000 at this point as I was going upstairs, so it's doing pretty well. I only needed to really spend about 100,000 on the upstairs area, which is 2 bedrooms, and you're using expensive beds, you're using expensive dresses, you know, that sort of thing, as well as the expensive curtains and rugs and artwork and stuff like that. So it wasn't really a hardship to spend, like, you know, 120, 130,000, you know, that sort of thing. So just mixing it up a little bit and combining some artwork with some stuff on shelves, just to add a little bit of a different look to the wall. Obviously, there aren't a lot of options for what you can do with walls and that sort of thing in base game. I mean, it is what it is, but by doing little different things like adding shelves and that sort of thing, I mean, it does mix it up a little bit and does make it like look a little bit different from the everyday kind of base game home, which is always my aim when I am doing a base game home. And yeah, I do liberally take from the locked items as well when I can, because they're kind of like, they're new items that you don't always see in the game if you're just playing base game and that sort of thing. So yeah, take advantage of that little cheat, definitely. So just going to add like some seating in, and what else have we got to do in this room? I think, oh yes, we're going to do like a little desk. So that's another expensive computer, ka-ching there. It's absolutely perfect, and I did like a little fishbowl. I was like, oh, what's something different I can put in here? I was like, fishbowl! I always forget about the little fish bowls, so it's quite good to put those in there. And then I needed something in the middle of the room, or just to fill a little bit more space in the room. So I actually ended up using like the easel, the Virtuoso violin, so that's the expensive violin, and the most expensive guitar as well. So yeah, spending that cash. And then moving on to the last bedroom. We're just about done. So this is also going to be a double bedroom. I did contemplate putting the curtain over the door, and I was like, no, that's too much. So using the same sort of bed again, just going with the white, the gold and the grey. So going with a slightly different colour and furnishing in this bedroom, which mixes it up a little bit, which I think is good. It still works really nicely with the curtains that we chose, but by going with a lighter furniture, I think it does change things a little bit. So there wasn't like it's a smaller bedroom, so there wasn't like a room to do like another little study nook or anything like that. Oh yeah, that's right, I changed chairs. I should actually change that couch too. I'll go back and do that. If I remember. If not, it's entirely possible I won't remember. So I thought once again I would do like a little shelf thing and maybe throw some plants, because we don't have any hanging plants unfortunately in base game. I mean, why don't we? But yes, we don't. So I just had to come up with something else in a sense, for a way that I could get plants on the wall. Anyway, here we are testing out the aspiration. Ching, 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 and aspiration achieved. Just like that. So let's take a tour of what we did. So this is the exterior as it came out. And there's little splashes there. It's the fountain. So the fountain does work and splashes around playfully in the front. But I love like the modern vibe, and that it doesn't necessarily scream base game house. Well, not to me anyway. I look at it and don't necessarily think base game. So that makes me happy. And so just going around the back, so it's a nice little backyard area. I mean, as I said, it's not like the biggest of lots. It's only a 30 by 20 lot. So it's nice being able to fit in like a nice barbecue area and a pool area and stuff for relaxation for your Sims. And the sort of, not all the balconies are really all that functional. They're more there for prettiness than function, but their upstairs balcony is perfectly functional. And then into the interior, so we've got our kitchen looking over to our dining, and then in the distance you can see the living area. So that's our little dining area, and looking through to our kitchen and our kitchen area there. It's pretty simple, but it does the trick. And yeah, dining area into the study area there, which is all lovely dark woods and luxurious, and then into our living room entertainment area. So you got all your seating and TV, so good for socializing, and our little downstairs bathroom there. All the expensive stuff, of course. And then we are upstairs into the master bedroom, which has a little study area and lots of paintings and a nice luxurious bed, 10. Of course, and we've got an easel. So this is sort of the creative room, and then into the second double room, which has the lighter furniture on it. And this is more like a guest bedroom kind of thing, I guess, or I don't know, guest bedroom. Makes more sense to me. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the build, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.